All right. And we are live. Dope, and dope. Yeah, so just give me a second, everybody, while I share the stream to, different Facebook groups, people I know, all that jazz, as we do with every show. It's just how we do it. This is a live show. So if you're listening on audio, you know what it is. We do this every week.
Hello, everyone.
I typically wear graphic tees during the show, but today I am wearing a yellow command Star Trek uniform.
I'm jealous. I need that.
Because this is a different kind of show today.
I want my Star Trek communicator badge, but I don't have a magnet.
Is that how they keep it on? Like people in it? Because I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they use a magnet, but the magnet that came with this is really weak. So I ordered magnets on Amazon. They're like super strong. That's why I usually use it, but I've misplaced them.
Cool. All right, let me just finish sharing it. I've never been to any of those conventions. I would love to go to a Star Trek convention. I have not.
They just did one here in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to be really big here in Vegas, but apparently this particular one is not big anymore, and this is the last time they're doing it.
Really?
Yeah, that's what my friend told me. My tattoo artist, who's also like a big Trekkie,
Mm-hmm.
told me that it used to be like super awesome. They used to have like really in-depth like recreations of Star Trek stuff. Like they had like a Star Trek like Quark's bar and everything that you could go to
Okay.
and hang out and all this cool stuff. And I don't know, now it's just much smaller and they're not the biggest stars don't show up to the Vegas one anymore. And now of course with COVID,
Mm,
everything's kind of like scaled back a bit.
for sure.
I heard
God damn
Jeffrey
it.
Combs was there, this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, y'all, who's not Trekkies, just know that Jeffrey Combs is. I'm just gonna put him out there. Sci-fi in general. He's one of the best sci-fi actors, period, on TV.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed him on quite a few shows, but in Star Trek, he fucking kills it every time.
Yeah. He's like he's just like an iconic Star Trek actor and he plays so many different roles. You never know where he's gonna pop up. He could be right here in my living room, in my bedroom. He could be playing something right now. I could be Jeffrey Combs. There's a little Jeffrey Combs in all of us, probably. Too much.
Gosh, it's such a. Oh wait, did I just? Oh, whatever. I just fucked that up. Whoops. A second. Look at that, fucking up sharing shit on Facebook. So, as y'all can tell, this is not a regular Men Like Us episode. This is another one of my, one-on-one interview shows where I just kind of talk about some shit I like. Like, yeah, I like it. I have a passion for everything else, but I like branching out and doing just different shit sometimes. So, welcoming back Ryder Monroe.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, thanks for
Always
coming. Yeah, so we're talking Star Trek today. Yep, talking Star Trek yet again, and today we are going to be talking about our favorite non-main cast members. That's super niche as fuck.
Yeah, super
But
niche. I love this topic that you've chosen, and I love talking about Star Trek. I did my hair kind of like a Vulcan today,
oh,
or
okay, got them burns rocking. Give me one second. I want to add this down. So, anywho, we're not. This is not in any exclusive order. We don't have like this is the best or worst. We're just going to talk about characters that we like, and we've selected about 12. We couldn't part with. We tried to make it 2 or 10, and we just couldn't part with 2 of them. So
yeah,
this
I
doesn't
couldn't cut
fucking
it
work.
down. Yeah, it was tough.
Absolutely. So, fuck it. Let's just get right into it.
Oh,
So the first character is somebody that we saw first in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Um, his name is Reginald. Oh, why is Boosie Badass showing up? What's happening here?
no, Barclay. For me, it showed Barclay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lucy
Clean out
said,
my labels, but yeah. So our first character is Reginald Barkley. Reginald Barkley was a character that was introduced to the show who had I think he had a holodeck addiction. Like he was addicted to being in
oh,
this virtual world,
yeah.
and like he could only socially function in this virtual world, which made
He
him
had,
an addict. What's up?
he had severe anxiety, you
Mm,
know. So that the holodeck became his outlet for being able to just function as a normal person. And that was a recurring theme throughout his appearances in Star Trek, where he was just dysfunctional socially and was using some kind of surrogate technology to be able to relate somewhat to the rest of just the crew. And I can relate to that kind of stuff too, just being a little awkward and, you know, um, kind of, you know, that.
well, but he has his moment, and he's definitely one of the characters that grows the most in Star Trek
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
started off very awkward and generally just disliked by everyone.
Yeah. He was
And
weird. He was kind of a creeper.
yeah,
You know?
that
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
kind of felt bad for him though
Yeah.
in that first episode when he got like a pity date with Counselor Troy. It's like, oh yeah, it's just some pity date. He's harmless. I'm
Yeah.
just like, dang, he really liked that girl too.
Yeah.
I mean,
And he,
yeah.
and he could have easily veered off into like incel territory, but
Oh
there
yeah.
was a redemption there. There was a redemption story arc there, and he became a, somewhat healthy adult.
I mean, he was always a genius. It's
He
just
was always smart.
yeah, he was always smart and he
Yeah.
was always valuable.
I like him in Voyager the most when he figured out how to send data across the galaxy to the Voyager
Uh-huh.
crew, and he had to stand up to what's his name's dad, who was his boss.
Yeah, Admiral Paris.
hmm I like that
No,
a lot.
he was a dope character. He was funny. He was just that well, the actor that played him was really good. It
Yeah,
was
and
really, really good.
very personable, very relatable. Unfortunately, the actor that plays him is a jerk in real life. He's like
Oh, really?
Twitter. Yeah, he's a big MAGA QAnon douchebag. hmm
What? He pulled a
Yeah,
Hercules?
yeah, Kevin
Damn.
Sorbo. He might as well be Kevin Sorbo. He's like
Shit.
just so unlikable,
That's disappointing as fuck.
just obnoxious. Yeah, he did.
Well, the character that he portrayed, um, I enjoyed him. I thought he was dope. And I always enjoy the smart characters, the people that are personable. And
Yeah,
like he grew a personality and he just grew to learn how to be around people. And
yeah.
like, I don't know. He
I,
just became a valued member of the crew. Like he proved himself. He had worth. He when it
yeah,
started, he didn't have worth.
yeah.
Like nobody saw worth in him. So
Because he's
I don't know.
very intelligent. He had
Yeah.
a lot to offer. He was just
For sure.
weird, which is something I can relate to.
Yep. So Reginald Barkley, here's to you. Um,
I love that picture.
yeah, he's just like so like I mean, really, that's him.
Yeah, just stressed. It's like I'm stressed. This is a social situation. I'm fucking
Hmm.
stressed.
Stutters all the time.
Yeah. Well,
So the next one, and we're going again, just to reset this as a clubhouse term, but we're just going through the best non-main cast Star Trek characters. They're just characters in Star Trek series that are not a part of the main cast. They're there, but they're not a part of the main cast. They're just extra characters. So kind of think of like put it in other terms. Oh fuck. I'm forgetting the damn character's name. There was a character in Moesha that like ran she used to run the little juice bar that the kids would hang out at, but she wasn't a main cast character. She was just kind of somebody that was there once in a while and was just always around, but not main cast.
I do vaguely remember Moesha, but yeah.
Netflix brought her back to me, and I had to binge the whole series.
Cool.
I didn't remember it. Like I said, look, I went on a whole UPN kick once they brought all the UPN shows, all the black UPN shows in.
I didn't know that they brought the UPN shows. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Like I like the Parkers. I remember the Parkers.
Oh yeah. That show. That was definitely a good best spinoff UPN ever produced.
Yeah, it was a spinoff.
Well, next to Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, true that. I forgot. Yeah, Star Trek was on UPN.
Hell yeah. Yeah, what's up, Ryan, Algernon, William? So yeah, look. Yeah. Next character, General Martok, one of the baddest Klingons out there. The man was just dope as fuck. He had lots of fire, lots of character, and he was one of those Klingons that was just reasonable. I think that was kind of like one of the things I liked about him. Like he had honor, like Worf, but he was still reasonable. He wasn't drunk on like being a warrior and all this extra crazy shit like Gowron was. Like Martok was cool.
He didn't have like a death wish in the same way that a lot of the other like Klingons had, where they were just so willing to throw it all away just to get in a fight with somebody. And I liked him. I liked that he, like you said, like he had a lot of honor.
Yeah, his son was a jerk.
Who's his son again?
So it was the first episode where like they brought Worf onto the show, and then like Martok's son was the guy who was just being a jackass on the promenade, and he like beat him up and then took his knife.
I remember.
And then that was Martok's son.
Yeah.
And it was like, why would you dishonor me like this?
The House of Martok.
But the fact that Martok approached it like, why would you dishonor me like that?
Yeah, I like
was that. Like even dope because everybody would be out for blood. They would kick the door in and be ready to fight.
Yeah.
And his wife, like, yeah, she's a piece of work too. But like
I remember.
Man, that dude loves to sweat off that lady feet.
Yeah. He loved the fight. He loved the fight in his wife. He loved
She was arrogant too.
Yeah. But that's like a real thing, Some guys they love the argumentative nature, the dynamic that they have with their wives. I guess it keeps them alive, keeps them young.
There you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just but he was still Klingon because at the end of the show, he had promised that they would drink a barrel of blood wine on Cardassia Prime.
Yeah.
And or Cardassia, and he was like, fuck it. He drank, and then Cisco and the other guy, the other admiral, they were just like, they just threw their cups away because they didn't want to celebrate burning down a whole civilization.
Yeah.
And he was just like, fuck it, more wine for me. Like I'm still a Klingon.
Yeah. This is what Klingons do. They fight. They battle. It's a warrior mind state.
Yeah. And they just celebrates the victory. Like, yeah, I showed up to kill motherfuckers and I did that.
Exactly.
Now it's time to drink.
Blood wine. More blood wine.
Oh. Now I heard that that's just like how many it was like it was like a triple. It was way more. They said it was like more potent than whiskey. It was like double or triple the potency that whiskey has. Like it was like it's extra strong.
Yeah.
Which is why like when they had to drink it on a mission, they had to take like an alcohol inhibitor.
Oh really? I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. I watched too much of it. But that was the episode where they infiltrated to prove that that Gowron was a changeling, but turns out Martok was.
I
And they had to
remember.
like go undercover and like dress up as Klingons.
Yeah.
But we can move on to another DS9 actor, but we're not going to talk about his DS9 days. We're going to talk about his Star Trek The Next Generation days, and that is Chief O'Brien.
Hard to ignore the DS9 Chief O'Brien, but yeah, he was a non-main cast character in the TNG days.
Oh yeah,
still a scene stealer.
Yes, he was. He was in the first episode, and they gave him some regular ass Irish name that wasn't O'Brien.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Cool.
Yeah, they gave him some other name, and then they brought they loved him so much they brought him back, and then like just called him Chief O'Brien, and he was a red shirt.
Really?
On the first on Encounter at Farpoint.
I on my rewatch, I typically skip the first season of TNG.
You might first and second, because Roddenberry was in there for first and second, and it was just like it was just weird.
Well, they were still figuring it out. I like the second season, but the first season, I feel like, especially like Worf, they're still figuring out all the characters.
The first season feels more like the original series.
Yeah. It's a little bit campy, the Ferengi and everything. It's a little just,
Let's not forget the terrible, and I mean terrible, black episode they did. They went to a planet of black people, and they were all like these fucking just campy ass African motherfuckers. It was
all like dashiki African.
And then the main leader was like a womanizer.
Yeah.
And he had this like he had the queen, and then all of a sudden a white woman appears on the planet, and he just throws away all of his shit just to get the white woman. And it was just like
it was terrible.
Oh, it was so awful. And who did that episode? Whoever directed that episode like regrets the fuck out of that shit. Like there's a lot of regret from the cast.
Oh, I'm sure.
Around that one episode.
I'm so sure.
But back to Mr. O'Brien. Miles O'Brien. That motherfucker was racist.
Yeah, he was. Or speciesist.
Yeah, I don't know what they call that. But yeah, he did not like Kardashians. He fucking hated them motherfuckers. So he was very bigoted towards Kardashians. Didn't want to talk to them. And like when Counselor Troy could feel the hate coming off him, like she just turned back and looked at him. And then he just looked down and tried to like play it off.
Yeah, I think, including that kind of stuff was good though, to show the progression of humanity, how we weren't supposed to be racist anymore, but we did still deal with bigotry because of aliens. Dealt with that kind of stuff, which I think would be natural for humanity.
And that was like a war thing for him, because he's on like he's been to war with the Kardashians, and like that whole episode was like his former commander was out to like fuck him up or something. Like he was still fighting a war that wasn't happening anymore. Yeah.
And then for him to end up in DS9, where he's just steeped in Kardashian everything. He's got to use the whole Kardashian space station and convert all their technology. So every day he's dealing with Kardashian stuff.
Absolutely. And his I don't know, I like him. He's the transporter chief. His presence grows. He starts going to the poker games that the bridge officers play. Yeah. He gets married in the show to a character that we will talk about later.
We will. She shall not be named now.
Yeah, we ain't doing that. We talking about the people that we like now. But I mean, no, he's. I'm trying to think of like what other storylines he had, but I don't know.
I really know.
Oh, no, that wasn't him though. His body was taken over by an alien. Well, I don't know. There was an episode where like him, Data, and Troy were taken over by aliens, and then like the alien that took over
Oh yeah, I remember.
O'Brien, like he was terrorizing his wife and child.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So, but O'Brien is dope, and Star Trek: The Next Generation doesn't have that many non-main cast members, but
Yeah.
O'Brien is definitely the real deal.
Yeah, I like O'Brien. Home
So
meanie.
the next one is Joe Cisco.
Joe Cisco.
Yeah, yeah. I he played the father of Benjamin Cisco on Deep Space Nine. Benjamin Cisco was a captain on Deep Space Nine. But he was really good. He was he was a good actor. And I like, what he represented on that show. Like I liked that show. I liked the legacy of black men that they had set up.
No, it's very important that aspect of that show.
Yeah.
And I don't remember them ever even saying his name. He was just Cisco's dad to me. I didn't know his name was even Joe until you were saying
until
that.
we looked it up today.
And I've never had gumbo, but it makes me want to have gumbo. I really want to try the gumbo.
Yeah, gumbo is good. It's definitely good. Especially that New Orleans, that Creole.
It makes me want the gumbo.
But yeah, no, he's a really, really good actor. I love that he brings a little bit of humanity to the show still, because like the show is so war-minded. Like they're in war. They're always at war. They're always
a lot of conflict.
Yes. And then they were trying to do like blood testing and blood screenings, and he was just like, yo, do you understand what, like, and in the way his son was looking at him like, are you real or are you a shapeshifter?
Yeah,
and
it
it's just
started
like,
to
what's
question
wrong with
him.
you? Yeah.
No, it's very I mean that that pertains to the times we're living in now, I think you should have just taken the blood test personally, and that's kind of how I feel about masks and vaccinations personally.
Yeah, he was definitely on that shit. Yeah, no, that is a fair parallel.
Yeah, it's like it's for the greater good here. We've got a possibility of changeling taking over the government. I think that everyone should, potentially give up a tiny bit of their freedom and their privacy for everyone else's safety. But that's my opinion.
Well, but let's also remember that this is something that everybody's done already. We've all got the measles vaccine,
Yeah.
rubella, whatever, polio. Like we were, at least when I was growing up, I don't know how it was with their schools, but like it came to a point where they were like, yo, you got to go get this kid his vaccines or else he can't come back to class.
I had to get vaccinated every year, and you had to have vaccinated, and everyone does. I don't understand what the big deal is. I think it's just become such a politicized thing where the left is for this and the right is for this. And if you're a Republican, you stand for these values and you have these opinions, and people don't really think much for themselves. And because it's an irrational a position to have, in my opinion. And I got really sick. I got COVID and I got super sick. My boyfriend got COVID, was in the hospital for 4 nights, and then was on had a portable oxygen tank that he had to use for a while. He still doesn't have all of his taste and smell back, and it's been it's been like 8 or 9 months since he got it. And my energy levels were completely decimated, and then I got the vaccine, and I got super sick from that too, and so did he. But I'm grateful to be able to have the protection of the vaccine, because I'm someone who, I don't have comorbidities, and I got super sick, and he doesn't have any health issues either, and he was in the hospital. So, it can affect seemingly healthy people very significantly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are dying still. But it is just fascinating how there just are like, and that's one thing I always loved about Star Trek is there would be parallels to our society in their stories that they told. And Yeah, no, that's definitely a parallel there. And yeah, I mean, I got my vaccine as soon as I could. I
Me
wasn't playing no
too.
games. Like as
Yeah.
soon as you get it to me, I got it.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to get my booster shot. Next year, end of the year, whenever they fucking let people do that shit, I'm gonna do that shit too. Like and I know this is not politics talk, but all I'm saying is I'm ready to get back to my fucking life.
Me too.
I want to
And I think
travel. I want to do shit.
people forget that we didn't have to have a pandemic. It's like we could have this could have been completely avoided. I didn't have
Yeah.
a pandemic my whole life. My parents didn't have a pandemic. All of a sudden, you put a boy king in charge, and you start getting reckless with the world, and we have the whole fucking country gets shut down, and you never take the necessary steps to actually mitigate what's going on, and it
Hmm.
just keeps going. So
Yeah. Well, no, it's definitely out of control. But people have their rights.
yeah,
Whatever. I
let's
mean,
see.
I will say though, thank God employers are stepping up.
Yeah, thank God the private sector is stepping up.
Hmm.
It seems more and more like the private sector seems to become like the rational voice among us. Um,
Oh shit! What up, Gunner? Sorry, my buddy Macroneer is we used to play football in high school.
okay.
Homie, sorry. Like I never saw him on my stream before. I'm happy to have him here.
What up, man?
Yeah. So oh wow, this next one. Really good. And I'm sorry guys, we haven't been reading all the comments like we normally do, but we got a lot of characters
I
here.
see him. What's up, everybody? Keep commenting. I'm reading them.
Yeah, my O'Brien's the king, LOL. He also played a part of Star Trek 6. That's right, Cynthia. You know what? We was talking about that with this character.
He
Who the
did,
fuck is it?
yeah.
Yeah, with Joe Cisco. So I'm like, Star Trek be using the same motherfucking actors, and they act like people don't notice.
Yeah.
It's like how no that Star Trek 6 wasn't that much further before Deep Space Nine. It's only a few
Yeah.
years. Like, come on now.
He was a red shirt.
Yep. So the next character that we got on our list for just one of the dopest non-main cast characters is Weyoon from Deep Space Nine.
Hey, June.
Weyoon is like
Wait.
he's just so huge. He's huge on Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine, but he's like, I don't know. I like him. He's funny. To me, he's funny because he has that. I'm sorry. He is a diplomat and a representative of a group called the Dominion. They're pretty much like the Federation, but from a different part of space, and they're a lot bit more. I don't know, bloodthirsty. Not bloodthirsty. They dominate, I guess. I don't know, but either way,
He's
um, he's a
he's
diplomat.
he's very smooth and he's very petty. He's very
Yes,
like
yes.
acerbic, I think. Acerbic. He's got an acerbic wit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's he's got a biting kind of disposition, and I like that.
Well, I always appreciated how devout he was. He was such a devout
Yeah,
believer in the
yeah,
founders, and he truly loved the founders. Like he was really there for it.
yeah. He was ready to throw it all away his whole life, over and over again.
Yeah. So
You
everything
know?
his whole character, his personality, his flaws, his pettiness, all
Mm.
had to do with the founders. He wanted to
It was,
please his gods so badly. Nobody could please his gods more than him. And that's why him and Ducat used to bicker all the time.
it was all in service of the founders.
Yeah. But he
You
was
know?
he was funny, he
You
was
gotta respect it.
smart, uh a politician till the end, for sure.
Strategic and
Hmm.
um, very just dynamic to watch. And also, Jeffrey Combs is just
The best.
so great. You
He's a
know,
gift.
if ever there was like a great, Star Trek actor, he's definitely at the top of the list.
Yes, absolutely. top of the list. But one other thing I liked about Weyoon was like so he was a consummate like dictator in terms of like when they occupied the station and Jake was just like the little journalist was like, hey, so why are none of my stories about the occupation going through? And he's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not an occupation, and I'm not going to let you put out like he was all about
Yeah.
putting out propaganda,
All
but
that
the honest
spin.
truth, yeah, he was
Yeah.
spin master all day.
Yeah.
We are
Which
we
is
are
great to
partners. We
see.
are not conquerors,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Which is great to see. I mean, to if you just take everything that the government says, you would
Mhm.
think that America can do no wrong, and in reality, it's an imperialistic country and has done a whole lot of things wrong, and a whole lot of the things that they tell you are completely spun um, to paint America in the nicest of lights.
Yeah,
So these things are educational to see.
definitely. And you know what? I also like the episode where they did the dual mission together,
Yeah,
and he had to
yeah,
keep his Jim Hadar in check on that small ship.
yeah. I
And
remember.
then I think at the end, the Jim Hadar just killed him.
Yeah, he
He
died
just
a bunch
killed
of
him.
times.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He died quite a few times. He's a
yeah.
clone,
He's a
so they
clone.
just give him a new body. And then, oh my goodness, that episode with the defective Weyoon
The
that
one
went to
with the changeling.
yeah, well, the one that went to Odo's side, like
Yeah, with Odo.
he defected
Yeah,
and like all he wanted was to die with the blessing of his god,
yeah.
and
Because
like it was
Odo's a god
just
too. Yeah,
yeah, I mean just I don't know the dedication
it was a great episode. I remember.
for sure. And he died at the end, he died standing in front of the other founder, the female changeling, trying to
Yeah,
protect her. Like that was the end of
it was
Wayoon.
heavy. Yeah, it was heavy.
Ooh, so but yeah, no, Weyoon, dope character. If you watch Deep Space Nine, look out for him. He's great in damn near every scene that he's in. Always promoting the glorious Dominion. So we got one more Weyoon, or not Weyoon. We got one more Jeffrey Combs character here, and his name is Is it General Shran?
General Shran, I believe. I like to call him Sexy Shran,
Sexy Shran.
personally.
He's a blue skin, and he keeps calling the humans pink skins. I don't know. I guess it was just a good thing he never talked to the black dude on the crew. So I
Yeah, that
don't
would
know
have
what he
been
would have
fun.
called him.
No, only one for the
Nah,
white guys.
he's another dope character. Jeffrey Combs is a
Very
fucking
cool.
master actor. But this character was dope because again, character development. He started off very suspicious of humans, didn't trust them, and by the end, him and Archer are like friends. He forms a relationship with the captain of that series, and they end up developing a mutual respect for each other,
Yeah,
which is just like dope. And I love how he talks. He's
yeah,
like, when he thought he was being attacked by the Tellarites, he was like, Tellarite swine?
yeah.
It's just like,
I
I don't
remember
know.
when he
It's
got
just
his
character.
little antenna cut off.
Oh, yeah.
That was that
He
was
lost
tough.
his balance. Oh, right. That was the duel to the end.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think he's the only Enterprise character that we have on the list. Like,
Yeah, he is. He's the only one from the UPN show Enterprise.
mhm.
Not one of the most beloved Star Trek series, but I think people
I
get.
love it.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I love it.
It took time for people to accept it.
It took time to find itself
Yes.
too.
Oh, it did. Yes, it did.
Unfortunately, I think it was what was it? How many seasons was that one? It was like 4 seasons, I think.
I want to say it was 4 or 5.
I want to say it was 4,
Okay.
but I don't remember it. It didn't really like fully find itself, like really hit its stride until the end of the third season. So it only had one season where I think it was just like on fire, you know.
The
And then
Zindy was all one season?
I don't
No.
remember.
There was a season after the whole Zindy conflict ended.
Yeah, I think there was one season after the Zindi.
So,
The
but
Zindi
yeah,
thing went
that
on for a while.
it did. It did. And that, shit was dope. But Shran, it just that whole Shran, that whole incident with the Tellarite vessel or whatever, like shit like that just makes me hate the Romulans because they're always just fucking shit up. Because it
Yeah,
was that little remote ship that can like make itself seem like it's anybody.
yeah.
And they just
They're
why y'all gotta
tricky
disturb people?
business. Yeah, tricky business, underhanded stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, remember how Cisco used to deal with the Romulans. He got underhanded too. He wasn't fucking around.
Yeah, he just straight up lied.
He was like, yeah, I don't care.
But
And
he
I like
he
Cisco.
intended to lie. He didn't intend to kill nobody. Garrett was like, "No, fuck it, I'm gonna kill all of them." Like,
But
I
when
knew
you
this shit
get
wasn't
in,
gonna work.
yeah, when you get into bed with that kind of thing, it's like one thing after another. I
Yeah.
love that episode. It's in the pale moonlight, I believe is the name of that episode.
But you know what I like also about Shran was like he kept like he was suspicious, and his trust grew and grew
Yeah,
while his subordinate continued to distrust humans. And
yeah,
it was great how he was able to keep her in check and nip it in the bud. And like,
yeah,
that was his, I guess, betrothed, or like they were mated or something. That was his
yeah,
girl.
yeah. I remember.
And she died. And I think who did he have to go and try and kill for that? Was that the Tellarites?
That was, I thought that was the time. It's been a long time since I've watched.
Yeah.
But I think that was when he had to fight and he lost his antennae.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because she died.
Yep.
He always kind of he was like the Han Solo kind of character, where
Mm.
he had a cold-hearted type of exterior, and then he had a heart of gold towards the end of it.
For sure. And he was always showing up in the nick of time
He was
to
always
help
showing up
to,
to
to
make a
save the
fight.
Enterprise.
Yeah, Archer.
So, all right. Well, our next character is from the Next Generation. We all know her. She is on daytime TV now.
Yes.
The character's name is Gainen, but she is played by Whoopi Goldberg. So, yes, Whoopi was a big part of Star Trek in the 90s.
Yes.
As Gainen, a timeless being.
The
Yeah.
indomitable Guinan.
The who Gainen?
The indomitable Guinan.
Mm-hmm. So she was like that, I hate to do this, but she was kind of like that magical Negro
Really?
in the movie. So, the
Interesting.
magical Negro character is kind of like what was that? The Tale of Bagger Vance, where like Will Smith was like the one that showed up and he was like the guru. Like it was always like this black person that
Saw that.
that gave help or counsel or like always had the pearl of wisdom for the white
Ah,
character to move on. And
I
that's
see.
kind of who she was. She was the one where Patrick Stewart's character, Jean-Luc Picard, would always go to her, talk shit out, and she would make him see things in a different way and help him understand things in a way where he can, succeed, save the ship, whatever, do the right thing. He always had I'm sorry, not conflicts, but he always had a crisis of morality because he didn't know what to do in certain situations, and she would counsel them through it.
Yeah, I remember.
So,
He was a plot device to move things along,
mm-hmm.
um, and allow the characters to have a reflection and illumination as to what they should be doing and provide wisdom to different characters on the show.
Yeah. And I did like the interaction between her and Q.
Oh yeah, that was so cool, and they never really expounded on that interaction and the
mhm.
backstory there. You know what I mean? When she has all this power and Q knows it, and it's like you don't know what you know conflict they've had in the past, but it was something massive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was
I
like,
would love to explore that. Yeah, she had her hands up, like, "What are you doing? I thought you were a human."
no, she's not a human. She's a ancient being. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we ever got the name of her species, even though like
they
Generations was all about it.
yeah they didn't really go into it. But I think they showed just enough. I think that was cool because they showed just enough, and in that one episode where they show that she was on Earth,
Mhm.
like you know 300 years ago, she was on Earth just hanging out, and I think that was so cool
Now
that
you
they went
know
there.
this is a good that's this all of this is a good reason to bring her back on Discovery.
I'm excited. Or have it? She's coming back for Picard, is what I hear. But that would be cool
Okay.
for Discovery too.
I don't like that for Picard because if she's supposed to be timeless and age very, very slowly, she was still young. And what was that, the 1800s, early 1900s,
Yeah,
out in the Old West? So then, she looks the same in 2400, but now you skip ahead to 3100 in the future on Discovery. Now she can have a little bit of age on her because it's
that's
600
true.
years later. And I feel like, okay, we can logically, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, what the? But I mean,
Maybe
really, Picard has only been like, what, 30 some years? Like, I
no,
thought you were
that's true.
timeless. How does this
I didn't
work?
think about that. Maybe her species, it's they age really slowly up until 35, and then they age regularly
Hmm.
after that. You know.
Yeah, no, that would be definitely a Twilight Zone of them to do. So I think
Hmm.
that was a Twilight Zone episode where like the whole society was young and until like a certain age, and then they just like aged so rapidly they just died. It was
Really,
like a painful death. But you
yeah,
would stay 25 until like it was time for you to die.
yeah.
So you die at 75, you're looking 25 right up until the day you die, and then you done.
That's cool with me. I like.
I would take that I would take that deal as well. So what else we got here? So we went through Guinan, Whoopi Goldberg, shout out. Hope she comes back on one of the series. But I guess if Picard is the move, then that's the move. I'll take it however the fuck I can get it at this point. I'm a fan. I want fan service. So the next
Yeah.
one is your pick, and I'm gonna fall all the way back on this one. So
Roland.
Rolaren. Yep, Rolaren.
What a fox. She's a very
Why is
severe. She's a very severe character,
mhm.
and I kind of did my hair a little bit like her today.
There you go. So I mean,
We both have a
please
widow's peak.
make the case for
I mean,
Rolaren.
I just like her. That's all. I just like her. I think that well, she was had a lot of she was a conflicted character, and then she ended up joining up with what was the name of the crew that she joined up with?
The Maquis.
She joined up with the Maquis,
Was
and
that
I
for
think
real?
yeah, she joined up with the
Oh,
Maquis. I remember. Yeah,
okay. Okay.
that was her. And I don't remember.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember if they ever concluded her story, but like, did she die or something? I remember she they brought her back later for a in Voyager, but they brought her back as like a she was like a program. Remember in
Okay.
the she was in the holodeck as
Hmm.
a Maquis fighter,
Hmm.
and yeah, I just always thought she was just really cool, you know, Merle Aaron.
I mean, I would love for them to bring her back as like maybe a diplomat or somebody that represents Bejor. Like, I want to see what
Yeah,
happened to Bejor. What's Bejor doing right now? Like, how are
I
things?
know.
You know, uh, uh, I don't know how they do it. I just want Benjamin Cisco back. Like,
Well,
just
I
bring him back.
think, yeah, I want Benjamin Cisco back. I want to see what Bejour's doing.
Yeah, because she could be one of the because they had that sweep where all the Maquis were allegedly killed,
Yeah,
and hopefully she's like one of the ones that made it out.
that would
And
be a great redemption arc for her.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, because then now she's I'm sure they're part of the Federation by now.
Yeah,
So then
that's
maybe she
true.
has a way back into good relations with the Federation, even though she used to be a
Yeah.
Maquis.
Well, they had such a. It's her. Like her story was like back and forth. You know what I mean? It was
Mm-hmm.
like she was very conflicted, and then it was like a redemption, and then she went back to being kind of a rebel, a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be nice to see her back on the right side of the of Starfleet.
Oh, for sure. And she's just another person that owes Captain Picard a lot.
Yeah.
Like she's another character that has reverence for Captain Picard and somebody who feels like they owe him. Like he gave them something that, in whatever way he gave her something, he gave her a chance. He, trusted her.
She was a
Like,
mentor.
yeah. So I could see her coming back and be like, yeah, you know what? Oh, that you need me to do this for Picard? Okay, I'll do it for him.
That would be awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
so cool. They should
I
totally do
mean,
that.
Paramount, they should be watching this stream right now. We're dropping
Yeah.
gems here, okay?
Send this to them.
Fucking gems.
If you're watching this, make it happen. If I know any
Shit.
writers connecting.
There you go. So, we are back from Next Generation. We're going back to Deep Space Nine. We got a couple DS9 characters here. Another one that isn't, but this one came in a little bit later in the series. Actually, his name is Vic Fontaine.
Oh yeah, my
And
man.
Vic Fontaine was a holodeck character. He was not real, technically.
Yeah, well that's debatable, but yeah, he was a holodeck character. He was
Well,
the
it wasn't
loud
flesh
singer.
and blood. I'm sorry, because I don't want to disrespect holograms because I love the Doctor, so I can't disrespect in that way.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty real
um,
to me.
I
He's
mean,
very helpful.
he affected the real world.
Yeah.
He helped Nog's recovery
He
after
was
his war
sentient.
injury.
Yeah.
He
He,
brought what's his name? Kira and
Odo.
there you go. Kira and Odo, he brought them two together.
He recognized what they had right off the bat.
Yeah.
He had a great rendition of "You're Nobody Unless Somebody Loves You."
Mm.
And actually, I have a friend who goes on the he goes on the cruises, the Star Trek cruises, and he says that him and Quark do like a musical number together.
Really?
Yeah, which is cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. Gosh, I hate that I miss all of that shit. Because it's like, these actors are getting older. Like they're gonna have to stop doing a lot of this stuff.
Oh
And it's
yeah,
just
that's
like,
true.
I
I don't want to do a cruise, but my friend says they're a lot of fun, and you go to these, exotic locales, and the actors actually go off into the, islands with you, and you go snorkeling with Worf, or you go snorkeling with Deanna Troy, and it's pretty fun.
look, hitting the gun range or the archery or maybe even throwing spears, like doing shit like that with Worf would be
It'll
dope.
be rad. Yeah,
Oh my
that'd be awesome.
God. Like, even if we just went on a nature preserve and just went hunting with Worf,
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
I
here
don't know
for
if it's
that shit.
Worf. It might be Michael Dorn. I don't know.
Well,
I
yeah.
hope
Yeah,
it would be Worf, but I can't expect him to be
no, it'd
Worf.
be Michael Dorn, but good,
Yeah.
close enough. His voice is, I love, like Worf's voice. I recognize it over whenever he does voice acting gigs. I pick it up right away. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that's Michael Jordan.
it's iconic.
Absolutely. But
It's funny because my brother, well,
mhm,
I mean, I guess we're going on a tangent because my brother, like growing up, I never watched Star Trek. My brother
mhm,
watched Star Trek though, and he was always doing this kind of thing, and I always thought it was just like a black guy thing. And
mhm,
as I got older and I started watching Star Trek, I realized it was a Worf thing that he's doing. You
mhm.
know,
What
he's
was
like
it?
trying to just his whole vibe. He's kind of just like, ooh, and he's doing that is a Worf kind of just a Worf vibe that he's trying to embody Worf, you know,
Hmm.
and yeah, I didn't know that growing up. I thought it was a black guy thing, but it's a Worf thing.
Yeah, now Worf, he just had no patience for any other bullshit. He did not want to be
Just
bothered.
overly serious, very
Hmm.
masculine, very hyper masculine,
Yeah.
you know.
I
Um,
think some would say, because I did a Star Trek stream with Imara Jones, and we were
uh,
talking about Worf, and she called him the embodiment of like black masculinity, and
mm,
she was like, "Oh, of course you love Worf, like he's a embodiment, whatever." But like, I identify with Worf mostly because he was like a fish out of water,
mm,
where he was raised in a space. He came up in a space that wasn't, his natural culture. And then, he always had trouble interfacing. And it was always important to him to be accepted by his own people and like interface with them in a proper way. And,
yeah,
at first he didn't really know how to act around other Klingons. And, he just really came to embrace his own culture and he just became steeped in it. And like his character became way more dope.
yeah. No, he was like the most true of a Klingon than any of the other Klingons.
Absolutely. I
He
mean, the
was like
way
the
he
most.
killed Duras, that shit was
Hell yeah.
no. The way he came into that room, tossed his shit off, left his communicator, picked up that blade, and just marched right out that door. It was like I was watching Ice Cube, like
Yeah.
on a
Hardcore.
music video. It was so
It was
gangster.
hardcore. He was so badass. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
terrible father. He was a terrible father,
that.
which you can't forget. He was a terrible father. But, other than that, he has a lot of qualities that were pretty admirable, you know?
I mean, he could have been in charge of the empire. Really,
Yeah, he could have been in charge of the empire.
gave it
And I
up.
think in one timeline, he was like a high end um, guy in the
Oh, he
empire,
was the
wasn't he?
what was that? The regent in the
Yeah.
alternate timeline. He was the head of like he was the head of the alliance, which is pretty much everybody fighting the humans because the humans fucking ran roughshod across the whole galaxy and took everything over like a bunch of fucking pirates. And then all
Mhm.
the other aliens banded together and just fucked them up and subjugated them. And he's like the head motherfucker in charge,
Yeah. Yeah.
which that was really good. He was funny in
That was
that. It's
cool.
just how temperamental he was and just like
Yeah.
it was funny.
And he had
Uh,
Garrett on a leash.
oh yeah, right.
That was
Speaking
cool.
of, I mean, fuck it, let's go to Garrett.
Let's go to Garrett. I
Garrett,
love Garrett.
the Taylor, the Cardassian Taylor.
And I think Garrick he's just right on the edge of a not a main character, I think, in DS9, because he got to have some pretty prolific story arcs there.
Absolutely. No, he did. And I loved his training of Dr. Bashir. We would tell him
Yeah, the
all these like
banter.
spy stories and
Yeah,
like I don't know, am I lying?
yeah. This the
I was
banter of it's a spicy kind of repartee going on there.
absolutely.
Um,
There's like people are putting him and Bashir as like lovers and shit.
it does a heavy ship stuff going on there on the internet, and I can see it. And from what I've heard, the actor said that originally he was playing Garrick as someone having amorous intent towards Bashir, and
Mm.
then Rick Berman told him to stop playing him that way. Which,
Oh,
yeah, Rick Berman's, you know, prolifically homophobic and put a stop to so many potential, queer storylines in Star Trek, unfortunately.
Well, that show, I wasn't allowed to watch Deep Space Nine, largely due to a lesbian like kiss scene that they had on the
Really?
show. Because
Yeah.
they showed, I think they showed it in the previews or something like that. My mom was like, "Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not watching that."
Yeah.
I wasn't watching DS9 anyway. I was all TNG, but like, she was like, "Yeah, no, you're not allowed to watch the show. Do not ask me if you can watch this. Do not watch it."
Yeah. The
So they
90s.
had a few lesbian because they had the girls in the alternate universe, but then they had Dax and Dax's former wife. And I think that's all I can remember that was like woman on woman, but to a Bible thumper that had us at church 4 days a week.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Well, I wasn't paying attention to Deep Space Nine. I wasn't into Star Trek yet. I was heavy into Star Wars as a kid.
Yeah, I mean,
so I got into that like 2016. I started watching all that stuff.
And the world opened up to you.
Yeah.
So what was it? So Garrett. I mean, he's just like, so he's a spy. He has all of these skills and talents and connections and people that he knows, and he was essentially like a CIA agent, like where he can make motherfuckers disappear and shit.
Yeah, he was like deep in the what was it called?
Oh, the Obsidian Order? No, is that it?
The Obsidian Order, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
He was a heavy operator in the Obsidian Order.
Yeah, so I mean, he was an assassin.
Yeah.
He was an assassin, a spy. But he had all of these skills, but he was just a simple tailor.
He was a tailor. He was a great tailor too. Yeah,
he was a good tailor. But when it came time to kill, or that episode in the Pale Moonlight where he was like, "Yeah, Captain Cisco, I know you got a good heart, bro, but I was planning to kill everybody anyways because I knew this shit wasn't gonna work."
I love it. Love to see it.
Absolutely, but he put making him and Damar like the leaders of like the liberation of Cardassia was like dope.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Like, because I mean, he was exiled, and then now he's helping to run the underground, and I don't know. Yeah. It was a really good turnaround story.
Well, it was a good redemption story arc because he was willing to sacrifice so much in the end for his people.
Absolutely, and I forgot about Sial.
Oh yeah, Sial. Yeah, that was a tragic tale.
Yeah. For those of y'all that haven't seen it, that's a young Cardassian woman, half Cardassian, half Bajoran woman that he fell in love with, that was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And she did the old "I'll wait for you" when he went out to go and save his mentor, and then he got back and she got killed.
Damar killed her, correct?
Yeah, Damar did it.
Damar killed her, and Gul Dukat kind of lost it after that.
Yeah. Well, he was lose then after that.
Yeah, she's Gul Dukat's daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Best villain. I would say best villain in all of Star Trek.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, Khan does not rate when it comes like Dukat just is better. He's a better villain.
He's just the best villain. Yeah, it's cold-hearted.
He's a villain you love to hate, and those are the best ones.
Yeah, it's a conflicted character.
So we got two more. We got two more people. I know we've been keeping y'all long. We've just been chilling, just hanging out, talking about different characters. This one was she's a little controversial in my mind. Her name is Lwaxana Troi.
Oh, yes.
The diplomat from Beta Z, the mother of Deanna Troi from The Next Generation. And Lwaxana Troi, she's controversial because she's very she's a very sexual woman.
Yeah.
And she's also I think she has issues with boundaries.
Well, yeah, the 90s. I mean, if you apply the standards of today, she was definitely a little rapey.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. But like, she's that kind of person that would invite themselves to your party, even though you didn't invite them. You're like, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
doing here? Oh, I heard
yeah,
there's a party.
and grab your ass or something.
Oh, well, that I loved at the end of the episodes, whenever she would teleport, she was like, John Luke, those nasty thoughts or whatever. Like, shame on
Exactly.
you, John Luke.
And John Luke is so embarrassed.
He was just over. He was so pissed every time. I
Right.
loved it.
I
And
loved
he would
it.
just run away from her because he was like, I'm not, And I get it. You're the captain of the Enterprise, bro. You got options.
Yeah, exactly. You got options, and you know, you're there's a certain prestige that you have to kind of conform to, and she kind of broke that down and put him on the spot, you know.
Yeah. He just ain't, nah, he ain't thinking that. The captain of the Enterprise is not meant to pair himself up with a, a widow whose daughter is on your crew.
And
Like
she was played by, and the actress was Gene Roddenberry's wife.
that's another part of why it's a little controversial, because Gene Roddenberry was controversial with
Yeah,
The Next Generation.
yeah,
But she played the part so well. She was a rule breaker, trendsetter. I definitely enjoyed her episodes, and I enjoyed like where she was just vulnerable and she just like she took off the mask, so to
yeah,
speak, in Deep
yeah,
Space Nine, and she was just like, "Look, I'm aging. I just
yeah,
don't want to die alone." Blah blah
yeah,
blah. Like she was just straight up.
yeah. It was
And
heavy stuff. It was really emotional stuff.
yeah.
She also was the computer. She also did the voice of the computer,
Hmm.
I believe, the actress. Just a
And I
little
think
bit.
that was for all of the shows, even
Yeah,
in Voyager, right?
yeah, I believe so.
So there you go. The voice
Mhm.
of the computer. There you have
Alexander.
it. Lana Troy. And then last but not least, definitely not least, is what's his name? Rom.
Ram. I love Ram.
The dopey but genius brother of Quark.
With the heart of gold.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Heart of gold. He's the consummate nice guy. Like and you know what I appreciate about his story on Star Trek?
Hmm.
He's a nice guy and he doesn't finish last.
Yeah, exactly.
He
He's
gets
got
the
a
girl
great,
over Bashir.
yeah. And he becomes doesn't he? He becomes the leader of the Ferengi. He becomes the Nagus, doesn't he?
Yep. He becomes the
Yeah.
Negus. At the end of the day, he's the Negus.
I love it.
And
Love to
I
see it.
mean, it's just he wins. He wins. He started out as the brother of Cork, not treated well,
Treated well.
not beloved, treated like shit, discounted, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get my own job." Now he's working for the station, which is great.
Yeah. And because
It's
he's really adept with the computer stuff of the station, becomes like super skilled with that. And the thing I think I'm glad that they pivoted with his character, because in the very early on, he wasn't as wholesome nearly. He was, remember in the first his first appearance, he almost killed his brother, Quark.
oh yeah. Well, his voice was different too.
So they changed the character very quickly. He became
Hmm.
the wholesome um, kind of antithesis to of Quark. You know what I mean?
He was comic relief as well.
He was comic relief as well. He was wholesome.
Oh my gosh, the
Love
way that
him.
he would cry for his mom, he was like, "Oh,
Mookie.
I want my Moogie. We're gonna die." It's just like I
I
love
love
it.
it. I love Rom. I love Rom. I love Nog. I love Quark. You know, I love the Grand Nagus. I love the Ferengi stuff.
They like watching that show made me actually like the Ferengi because I skipped DS9. I watched all the other shows without DS9, and I'm like, why doesn't somebody just go and nuke the whole planet and get rid of them? Because they're
Yeah.
nothing but trouble.
No, that's what you would get. You're right, because I watched TNG, and then I watched TNG like a bunch of times, and then
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, I thought that Voyager came after TNG, so I watched
Mm.
Voyager after that. And yeah, if you watch it that way, you'll definitely have that have that view of the Ferengi.
Yeah, and they're so redeemable in that
It's so
series.
redeemable, and they completely get redeemed because at the end, I mean, Rom is a socialist, and he's an
Mhm.
anti-capitalist, and he is now the Negus, and he's giving women rights, and he's changing the whole culture of Ferengar. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. Their
Oh,
planet's
for
called
Renganar.
Ferenginar. Yeah, that's what their planet's called.
And I I remember when he was deemed when he was bestowed the title of Grand Nagus, and Brunt runs up to him and he's just like, oh, because like Brunt's been trying to kill the whole family
Yeah,
the whole show. It's
hate
funny.
Brent.
Shout out Jeffrey Combs.
Shout out to Jeffrey. He's a great villain. He's a great hero. He's great everything.
Absolutely. So we got two more characters we want to get to here. And we each had to pick one non-main cast character that we just absolutely don't like. And for me, um, actually, no, I'll let you go first. Do you remember yours, or you want me to?
Oh gosh, which one was mine? I had two, and then I got rid of one. Which one did we
We
end up
got
getting?
rid of one. The one that was left was Seska.
Seska, yeah. I hate Seska. Yeah, Seska will make your blood boil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was, emotional and irrational and a liar and a backstabber. And she ended up joining up with what are those guys called again?
The Kazon.
The Kazon,
Mm-hmm.
and backstabbing the Voyager crew, lying about being pregnant with Chakotay's baby. Just a mess.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that whole love thing, like she had a crush on Chakotay. That whole thing was really weird.
They
And
never really figured out what to do with Chakotay and the love thing. You know what I mean? Like it was always weird. Every time he had something, a love interest, and then in the
mhm.
end, it was extra weird because he ended up with Seven of Nine, and it was just strange.
You know what? Like I know people don't like him, but I'm like, man, can Harry Kim win that one thing, please?
I know, right?
Can he help a brother out? Like, fuck.
No, he got a bum rap. You know,
Oh yeah, he
Harry
got
Kim
shafted.
could have been, yeah. And I know that he was almost fired. He was going to be fired, and then People Magazine put him on the sexiest man in Hollywood list, and all of a sudden they couldn't fire him. They decided to keep him on, so they ended up firing Cass instead.
That was a good choice.
I guess
I have to be honest. Cass just was not.
I like Cass.
Ah,
I like.
eh.
I
Seven
can
to
see
nine
getting
was.
rid
I
of
was
Cass.
happy to get 7 to 9.
I say both. Why not both? That would have been great.
You're right. Both of them could be there. You're right.
Yeah,
They don't need. There's more. There's enough room for
they
both
go
women to
around.
be on the show.
Yeah,
So that's some shit as well. But with Seska, she was an instigator though. She was always starting shit.
she was always
Like
starting
always, she
shit.
was the one pushing that Maquis versus Starfleet. Like, well, this is how we do it. We're Maquis. We don't do it like that. We get it done like this. And
Yeah,
it's just like, yo, you keep creating a divide, man. What you
she was
doing?
always having conflicts. She was always angry. It's
Mm-hmm.
exhausting.
Starting shit.
Yeah,
So
hates us.
and that I mean, tip of the hat to her for that what she did to that holodeck program that Tuvok created. The scenario, the insurgency scenario.
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah,
she made it so that, like, hey, the next time he gets into this shit, he's gonna have to fight his way
yeah,
out.
yeah. So after she was already gone, like she was still, and then I think that was when Ro Laren was in that one, wasn't she? Was that?
I don't know.
I think Roland, she programmed Roland into that one. I
Oh
believe.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, about because so Roland's character just showed up randomly.
Now why? Okay, so they were supposed to, Roland was supposed to be in DS9, but we got Major Kira instead.
Yeah, yeah,
But why couldn't Roland have been in the fuck? She could still roll with the Maquis and been in Voyager.
yeah,
Like it could have been her path back to being in Starfleet.
yeah.
I
And
don't know.
I guess that I mean somebody was probably thinking about Roland because she just showed up randomly in that episode.
Exactly. And Star
Um,
Trek like doing shit like that though. They like putting random ass people. They do enjoy the fan service, and I
and I
appreciate them
love
for that
it.
shit.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. But oh, so last character we're going over. This is the one that I hate the most. the
I don't know
the
why.
so annoying.
Everyone hates
Okay,
her.
Miles O'Brien. He marries a Japanese woman named Keiko. She's okay, Keiko O'Brien. Miles O'Brien is a dope ass character, but
Yeah,
sometimes TV producers like to write dope ass characters with wives that do nothing but hold them back and just create annoying situations. That's
they
what's
like
happening here.
yeah,
She does not. She serves no other purpose but to stifle Chief Miles Edward O'Brien.
and his
She's
fun
annoying.
has with Bashir. He could have
Yes.
had a thing going with Bashir, but she's in the way.
Oh, hilarious. Oh Lord, no. But hey, you know what? It's the 23rd century. Why? Who knows?
Exactly.
Why not? So,
They had great chemistry.
oh, they really did. They definitely had a bromance for sure.
You know?
But she just is just always just complaining, whining. She's never happy, and it's just like now he's saddled with trying to figure out how to make this unhappy woman happy, and he's okay with it. Look, I have friends that are married to miserable women. For whatever reason,
Mhm.
it works out
Yeah.
fine. I just hate seeing it on my TV shows, and
I can
like
see that.
it's. I just don't
Some
like it.
people just
Like,
like the conflict. Some people like
have
the
you
fight. They
seen?
like the conflict.
That's true, but when you're doing that, Miles, you're keeping this character back from being great, and that's why. Like, have you seen Rocky? Have you seen Rocky 2? I think it was Rocky
Yeah.
2.
I've seen Rocky
Where
too.
they wanted the rematch with Apollo Creed, and the wife's like, "No, I don't want you to fight. Don't fight,
Yeah. No, I know. That's terrible.
ma'am. You married fucking Rocky Balboa,
That's
and
true.
you're telling this dude not to fight.
He's
You're
trying to
keeping him
stop
from
him
being
from
his
being
best
great.
self."
But you have to see it from her perspective. She has, I mean, with Rocky, it's like she has a little bit of money now. You know what I mean? She's in love. She's trying to have a family. And this guy's going out just like leading in the fights with his face, doing like the face to fist technique. Basically, that's his whole technique, just the face to fist. I can like get punched more than anybody else. He's already like not the smartest guy. You know what I mean? It's like he's gonna end up a vegetable. She doesn't want that.
I mean, yeah, looking back on the whole Rocky scenario, there's some really like not it, especially the first movie, it does not age well.
Oh, I typically skip the first one just because I like 80s movies more than 70s movies. You
Oh
know what I
yeah,
mean?
and I'm
But
with you
so
on
I haven't
that.
seen
It's
that
just
one.
when she obviously had some issues going on, and it kind of seemed like this guy was a little predatory,
She had some
because
issues. She was like had some developmental issues or something.
yeah,
She was very younger than her age, and he
they
was
made
liking
her
it.
like definitely, yeah, and he was just,
You know?
I don't know. It
Yeah,
was a
no, you're right.
little, yeah, but then they rewrite her to be like this fucking strong woman that's getting him to confess that he's afraid, and what
She
she
grew up.
ends up
Yeah,
being like the rock of the
she ended up
situation.
growing up in the second one, and she was an adult woman very much in the second
Shit,
one.
2, 3, 4, she was like in charge.
Yeah, I don't know. They wrote in the beginning she was like a very kind of just a childlike kind of character. Is
Hmm.
weird. You're right.
It was this. I know we're going on all these tangents, but I just had to. Just
Yeah,
I've been trying to watch
well,
some older stuff. I just recently
questionable.
discovered that that's not so. Ugh.
Yeah, it's
But
questionable.
whatever.
It's a lot
I'm not here to
questionable.
cancel my favorite movies of yesteryear. It is what it is. The shit
No, I
happened.
still like the movies. Yeah,
Oh, hell,
I
look,
overlook it.
I love Rocky through and through.
Me
I
too.
even have the Rocky VR boxing game,
Oh wow,
and that shit
I'm
is
familiar with that.
dope.
That's cool.
Yes,
VR. I gotta get into
VR.
VR.
Oh yeah, I got the Oh no, I think last time you were on, I showed you that VR Star Trek game that they have where you like you're on the
Yeah,
bridge
I
with your
heard about it.
friends.
Yeah, that looks
It's
so cool.
yeah. So I went and got me an Oculus Quest 2 for that shit now. So I'm
I gotta
definitely on the
get
VR
that.
tip.
I gotta get
That
an
was my like
Oculus.
little breakup gift. Like broke up with my girl. I'm like, man, let me just buy me something. I just bought a toy,
Wow.
got a VR
Well,
headset.
that's a good choice. I'm sorry to hear
I
about the
mean,
breakup.
oh shit, it's cool.
Well, maybe
But
congratulate.
as a man, it's like, yo, a lot of times we spend a decent chunk of change on our ladies, and I'm like, dang, I used to buy myself gifts. Now I ain't getting no
Yeah.
gifts no more. She getting the gifts, and now I'm just like, well, that was the
More
first thing I bought me
money
a
for
gift. I'm like,
yourself.
yep,
Sweet.
what's
More
up?
money. It's like, yeah, now you can just buy it for yourself. Sweet.
Yeah, that's
Treat
that's
yourself.
what I did with my first. That's my first break. That was my breakup gift to myself. Oculus Quest 2 headset.
That's a good
So
choice.
it's
I
dope.
want
It's
one.
wireless. Shit works. Don't get it right away. They have like a version 2 coming out. So,
Oh,
keep an eye out
really?
for that one. They got a second generation one coming through. But anyhow, that's
Good
the
to know.
Star Trek talk. I know I've kept you for quite a while tonight, and I really do appreciate you giving me so much of your time.
Yeah, it's my
Um,
pleasure.
before
You know, I
we
love talking about it.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I
Trekkies all
talk about
day.
it. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? They just released season 2 of Lower Decks. Have you
I
seen that
haven't
show or
checked
no?
out Lower Deck. I saw the first episode and I haven't watched the. I've been meaning to watch it. I hear good things. I
Do you
gotta
have
watch.
Paramount Plus?
I don't.
Okay, well, grab
Yeah,
that.
but I watch. I've seen all
Yeah.
Discovery. I've seen all the Picard.
Mm.
Um, you know, I watch them.
But-
I have my ways that I watch them.
Oh, yeah, and you and Trail are on the same shit. Well, one of the guys that's on my show, his name is Trail. He's like, "Oh, I don't have none of the streaming services." Oh yeah, I saw Pose. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
saw Suicide Squad. I'm like,
I have my
oh
ways.
okay,
I have
yeah.
my ways.
And I get it. I get it.
I just.
Totally
I
here
mean, I
for
have
it.
so many streaming. I got all the streaming. I can't have another one just for one show. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I've
if there
wasted
was
money
like,
on that.
I can't have a single one more. I've got so many. I cannot
Mm-hmm.
I cannot justify having even one more.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't happen.
I get you. And if you got other ways to watch Star Trek, then dope. Because that was really
Yeah.
Star Trek is the only thing that got me to sign up for Paramount Plus.
That's all
And
they
like
have. I
I
mean,
find very little. Yeah, that's all they got for for
that's all
for
they
me.
have.
They have other series,
Not enough for me
but
either.
I mean, like I don't know. I used to watch Bar Rescue a little bit because they have all the episodes of Bar Rescue.
I like
Uh,
Bar Rescue actually. I do like Bar
it's a
Rescue.
fun show,
I
but I was disappointed by what's his name, the
what he
John
recently said.
Taffer.
Me too. I'm glad you mentioned
Yeah, I saw him on Fox News, and I'm like, oh, you
disappointing.
too?
Yeah, just cruel. It's like how are you just gonna be just like cruel? Cruelty.
Uh, I'm just I give people the old person like, oh, he's just old, whatever. It's just how old people
Old
are.
and
Fine.
privileged, and old and
Oh yeah.
privileged.
Oh yeah.
Has probably been fairly wealthy for a pretty long time, pretty good amount of time. You
Yep.
know,
It's fascinating how people forget.
yeah. I
how they
remember
can't
how it
relate
was.
anymore. So
Yeah, I was poor once, and I
for sure.
remember. No fun.
Oh no, yeah, I feel you on that. I used to live out of my storage unit in Atlanta. I went through a
That's
small
tough.
bout of homelessness.
Mm,
I was working in homeless. I was working at Subway and then sleeping in my storage unit.
that's tough.
I mean,
That's extreme.
look, I was at Starbucks every day using their free Wi-Fi, applying for jobs. I got a job. I got back up on my feet, but it just took a lot of hustle and drive to make it happen. So
But yeah, and even then, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication, but it's
yeah,
also some luck there too. Have had you had
that's
a
true.
health issue, in that happening.
Ooh,
Had you had
oh
severe
Lord,
mental health issues, had you had
absolutely.
other things, that kept you from being able to move forward and have some upward mobility. People, these guys, they just, I don't know. There's a part of their brain that controls the empathy that is underdeveloped. Is the
Hmm.
best I could say. It's the nicest
Yeah,
way I could say
I
that.
don't understand how people just lose perspective like that. Like, yo, you were there once. How do you not understand this? Like,
I think it's an individualism that makes people feel good to embrace.
hmm
It's a very immature way to see the world. I remember when I was a kid. I remember I started getting like an allowance from my mom, and I started to think sometimes, I'm doing all this by myself. I'm like, I'm in charge of my own destiny. I bought this myself. And I remember like telling my parents that, and they were like laughing at me. Like we buy all your shit. You know what I mean? Like you do nothing. And it occurred to me they were right, But I think that that's how a lot of these people think. They think like I did as a 13, 14-year old. They're very just
hmm
immature, myopic, oblivious, pretentious type of worldview.
Oh, it's definitely some low level thinking.
Mm,
So I don't allow that shit around me at
no,
all.
either.
So and I
Yeah,
even if it ever gets around me, I check it, nip it in the bud.
yeah, me too.
So I just like this whole thing of like where people who have oppressive mindsets are like, yeah, but like why can't we just disagree and agree to disagree and still be friends? And it's like, no,
I can't
I got no
because
space for racism,
yeah,
transphobia, any other kind of bullshit that you got
yeah,
that's really hurting people. Like, no,
exactly. And
we can
I
disagree
find
on
that
sports teams.
exactly. It's like I know right from wrong. That's why. It's like that's why.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think a
So
lot of them, for them, it's just like it's a culture thing for them. It's like they don't really think too deep about it. I've come across many times somebody spewing transphobia, spewing just ugly things, especially like with there was a trans woman in the Olympics
hmm
recently. And there was a lot of ugliness. And I'm in financial groups. I do a lot of stock trading and stuff, and it's a very male dominated, just male
are you in
dominated.
on the AMC entertainment?
I've made and I've lost a lot of money on the AMC. I'm never touching AMC again. I don't ever see
I'm not
AMC.
pulling my money out till I get something from it.
Oh my gosh.
I think I got like
I was
four or
playing
500
options.
sitting on AMC Entertainment, and I'm just like, you know
Gosh.
what? This thing's gonna turn around someday.
Well, you got more gusto than me because I was doing options on AMC and I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money.
hmm
I was a paper hand. I'm what they call paper handed. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I'm not a diamond hander because there were some times where I had really valuable contracts and I just got scared. It would go up, it would go down, it would go up, it would go back to where I didn't lose any money and I'd sell literally a minute later. It starts running and I would have made like life changing money. I didn't want to think about AMC, man.
Oh, I feel you.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of times in my experience, it's like people will just spew nastiness about trans women,
hmm
um, just because it's like the culture of the day in their circle. And then I confront them, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I never thought of that. I never wanted to be that way. I don't ever think that. I don't think that at all. I'm actually not that way at all. And I think it's just something that a lot of men do, particularly, I mean, cis women too, but a lot of cis people, it's not something
Well,
that they're heavily invested in. It's just, to them, it's a very, um, it's just a very normalized thing in their culture. So they just talk, and when somebody pushes back, especially when they're confronted with it by a trans woman,
mhm.
it changes, I think, very quickly. All of a sudden it's just like, no, I'm not that way. I didn't want to hurt anybody, and I don't have anything to back this up, and I don't really care so much about this position. And you know
Yeah.
so yeah, so
Well, I think
which
sometimes the men who are nasty, not nasty, I think a lot of times men who exhibit a hateful mindset towards the trans community, especially, well, I'm sorry, sometimes they're, stupidly trying to cater to the cis women in that space.
yeah.
And it's like they act a whole ass fool, especially when cis women are there to be like, oh yeah, well, those are really men. Those aren't real women like y'all. Like y'all are. They're
No, it's a
like
bunch of
they're.
pick me, a bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
pick me ass guys and pick me ass women
absolutely.
too, going back and forth.
Yes, but they want to affirm these chicks so that they can feel like I don't know. I just feel like once women get into the mix in certain situations, dudes fucking lose their minds and they start doing weird shit.
Weird shit. It's really bizarre.
And it is bizarre as fuck. It's like, oh
It's
yeah, no, I
bizarre.
don't fucking no trans. That's a man. This, and this. And
It's really
I protect
perverse.
women, but that ain't no woman, and blah blah. And it's just like
Yeah.
you're just trying to okay. Like
And
at
I
this point,
think,
you're playing a role.
and if they're confronted though, you know what I mean? Like they're confronted, in my experience at least,
Hmm.
when they're confronted by an actual trans woman, it all crumbles, because it makes no sense in the moment to treat a trans woman like a man when you have a woman obviously sitting in front of you. Um, and it's against their instinct in that moment. And sometimes, they can have a crisis of identity in that moment. But most of the time, it just crumbles, and they say, "I was wrong." They make up excuses as to why what they're saying doesn't apply. They apologize. They try to take it all back. In my experience, at least,
Mm.
that's how it is. Um, and I think it's just unfortunate that we have a culture that has catered to this type of behavior, because there's not a lot of trans women out there, period. And there's not a lot that are gonna, be able to stand up. And I mean, I don't know. I think that I stay out of a lot of these spaces where I think that, it's really kind of just vicious, you know. Um, so maybe I'm biased in that way, but
That's cool. Protect your peace.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like my boyfriend, it's like his ex-wife found out that, like, that I'm a trans woman, and went and told everybody, and it became a huge thing.
Mm.
And then I met his family, and it's not a huge thing, and everybody likes me, and all the stuff went out the window. And it was about, at that point, it's about me forgiving them, for the things that I've heard them say, or that
Mm.
were relayed back to me, you know, because they didn't know me, but they still said a lot of nasty stuff, and I judged them for it. But I've
Mm.
forgiven most of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's like I don't know, interesting dynamic and something that, like a lot of the guys that watch my show just need to kind of hear because sometimes people paint a really rosy picture like, oh, yeah, if you live in your truth, everything will work out. Everybody will accept. It'll be this great thing. And you'll find out the fear was just in your head. And that's not always true.
no, it's not.
Um, one of the guys in my men's only group, I mean, he got kicked out of the house. He was staying with his dad. He was staying with his dad. And then, he brought a girl over, and then his stepmom like read her tea. And
Oh,
then, like, when the girl
yeah,
left, stepmom made a big deal about it. And then
yeah,
the dad made a big deal about it. And then it was really the stepmom like egging the dad on.
yeah.
And the dad probably had to, like, she pulled his man card essentially. And he had to man up and be, anti-trans. And then the son wasn't having it. And, luckily he had somewhere else to go live. But if he didn't, the dude would have been homeless.
Which is just so ugly, it's just so ugly how. I mean, the reality is that like trans women don't need everybody to like accept trans women.
Mm-hmm.
If the bigots would just accept that other people aren't bigots the way that they are, the
Mm-hmm.
lives of trans women would improve tremendously. It's
Absolutely.
that they have this irrational hatred that is so strong that they're incensed when someone else doesn't hate the way that they do.
Mm-hmm.
They have to make everybody around them has to conform to their bigotry, or else they're just their whole worldview just crumbles, and they're just like just a ball of irrational fury, and it's really unfortunate.
Absolutely is. And sorry to take it, let the conversation go in such a direction, because I know we typically don't talk about these things whenever I have you on, but hey, life happens. And we
No,
just,
I'm always down to talk about this kind of stuff. You're right, life happens, and this
Mhm.
is something that is affecting so many, and it's just so unfortunate. I know I keep saying that, but it's just so unfortunate because it's like it keeps people from having these potential connections that could be lifelong love connections,
Mhm.
generational connections, um, and could change the course of so many people's lives, but they're they get it all just gets messed up because somebody wants to harm another person for no reason. And unfortunately, we have so much access to education on the subject. It doesn't really matter, though. What matters is, in my experience, what matters is social condemnation is the biggest motivator and the biggest impetus for change. Once
Mhm.
you have enough people, cis people typically, um, who will judge someone righteously for their bigotry, there's a real change that happens. So
Absolutely.
that's what I want to see, and I see it more and more. I know that in the Black community, it's really tough, and Black trans women pay the price the most for people's reluctance to call it out. So I think that there will be a time, though, that there will be a reckoning in the Black community where celebrities start talking about it more, and people are able to really see that um, Black trans women are the whipping children of the community and are at the tip of the spear, and um, they're owed so much more than they get.
Absolutely. And the real issue is a lot of these, like, a lot of media entities or programs, or celebrities in the Black space. A lot of times they will, when they talk about trans issues, or they'll have somebody who's trans on their shit. It's usually the fun, happy laugh time gal who's not really about being appreciated for trans, or about
Yeah,
creating more understanding. It's like, I'm here to entertain you people, and I'm
yeah,
going to act belligerently and all this stuff. Like this whole thing with there's this radio show called The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee, forget the other guy's name, DJ Envy.
I'm
Um,
familiar.
but they had this, the comedian Flame Monroe on there. They'll have Flame Monroe on there all day, who's
I don't know.
essentially, well, I don't know what Flame Monroe is, so I can't really
I don't
identify
know.
Flame. Like, I don't know, because some people say that Flame Monroe is a drag queen. Some people say that Flame Monroe is trans.
Oh, I see. I see.
I
No, I get what
am
you're
not going to
saying.
make that determination because I'm not trans. I'm just a dude. So
Well, I get what you're saying. And I
yeah,
mean, even if she is trans, there are always traitors in each minority group. There are always, Uncle Toms, so to speak.
yeah,
So that's just, I mean, and what shows like that do, and they do it in Fox News, they do it in
exactly.
the Breakfast Club. It's conclusion shopping. I've already
Hmm.
made a conclusion. I'm going to search for evidence that I can latch onto to rationalize my position. It's not about, educating anybody. It's about just spewing propaganda. And that's what that amounts to is just anti-trans propaganda.
Hmm.
And I don't have any patience for Charlemagne, any of those guys. I have not I don't, and it even goes back to the Wendy Williams days. I
Hmm.
think all that stuff is just buffoonery, and it's the lowest common denominator nonsense. It does nothing good for humanity. So I just ignore it. And anybody who kind of looks at that for as entertainment, same with Joe Rogan, same with Tucker
Hmm.
Carlson, any of that stuff, I judge them and I dismiss them immediately because they have
Well, I
nothing.
mean, that's the thing though. All those shows are highly rated. The
Yeah,
Breakfast Club is the largest black morning radio show in the country. Tucker
yeah,
Carlson, I'm assuming one of the highest rated shows on the
yeah,
highest rated cable
yeah.
network. Joe
And Joe
Rogan,
Rogan is
top
huge.
podcast, period.
But
Like,
that's the thing. That's what you have to remember. And that's the reality of humanity. And this brings us back to Star Trek,
yeah, Adonis.
is that we are, unfortunately, a very primitive species. And we're stuck on a planet with very simple minded people. And these people are capable of good and they're capable of rising above these things. But in the moment, they're superstitious, they're prone to irrational bigotries and violence and hatred. And that's just what it is. And we're stuck here on this planet with them. And once you accept that, I think that it's easier to live amongst them because you understand that they know not what they do. They are acting from a place of a unevolved um, brain, and a mindset, and they're easily manipulated, you know. So
Yes.
you kind of just have to accept that we're in the baby stages of humanity still, and hopefully that we can survive and not kill ourselves um, long enough to evolve to Star Trek and ascend to something that resembles Star Trek, and that's why we are drawn to the show so much because it represents the best of what can be of humanity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I have to co-sign on all that
Yeah.
shit. So, all right, for real this time, y'all. We are going to wrap
All
because
right.
I have taken more than enough time of Writers Night, and thank you
It was
so
so much
much.
fun.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. I wanted to give you a chance to promote anything if you had anything that you wanted to get out there, send people to, you know, programs, projects, whatever. I don't know what's happening. I don't know everything that's happening in the world of Ryder Monroe.
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
mean, there's not much going on. I'm just, I'm like, I'm on Twitter. You guys can just follow me on Twitter. Twitter is at Ryder Monroe. Mostly like I just trade stocks. I talk stocks on there a lot, and I post stuff about my life. I'm living in Vegas. Um, I got a motorcycle. That's been fun. Yeah, I'm just hanging out with my dogs.
you know, I think the last time you were here, you were talking about like you wanted to get a motorcycle,
Did
but you
I?
hadn't gotten it yet. You were just like, yeah, I really want a bike, and I'm like,
I manifested it because my boyfriend
little
bought
old
me a
you,
bike.
because you're a
Yeah.
small, like you're not. I'm sorry, you come across to me as a small lady, so it's like a bike. I'm thinking that bike is like big and like you gotta
The biggest
lift that
pipe.
thing up.
Well, yeah, it's really heavy. It's like you got to be really careful. My boyfriend is able to move it more than I can.
Okay.
But I'm getting better.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I just got a couple things here. Everybody watching, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you are watching this video, please like the video on YouTube.
Yes.
The anti-trans haters have descended upon my YouTube channel and they're downvoting a lot of my content. So if you guys could please help me out and combat that. I've had a few videos really kind of railing against anti-trans sentiments in the Black community. And, people aren't liking that so much. So if I can get some support on that end, guys, please subscribe, like the videos, help my content get out there, because when it gets too downvoted, YouTube isn't going to disseminate that anymore. So need your help there, everyone. Then also follow me on Twitter at Men Like Us Pod. And we're also on Instagram. And then you can follow me on Clubhouse at MLU Chris or Big Chris TX. And I guess if you have any comments, concerns, questions, tips, whatever, you can email the show at menlikeuspodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's all the show related stuff I have to promote. So we got one more comment here. All right. Oh, Algernon said, "Be careful, Ryder."
Absolutely.
That's the homie right there. He's a great dude. He's I think he showed up for one of our support. We have Thursday night support sessions on Zoom with your boy Troy. So it's a very dope environment we create. Yeah, guys, if you're watching this and you are trans attracted and you do want to oh no, it was Adonis. That's who was on not Eljanon. Sorry, mixed them up. But if you are trans attracted and you want to connect with other guys like yourself, we do have Thursday evening Zoom sessions. So you can get the links to those inside the Men Like Us Tribe men's only group. So just search on Facebook, Men Like Us Tribe. You'll find it pretty easy. You'll just request to join and you can get right in and get the Zoom link. So with that, we will be out and I will see y'all in a couple days. We're going live on Friday and we got some shit to talk about. So come ready for it. All right. And live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
And we out.